Welcome to QSR Nation, your weekly dose of food service marketing tips and business strategies for success. Here's your hosts, Josh Anderson, Beth Oots, and Anthony Pierce from the PFS Brands National Headquarters.
Hey everybody, welcome back to QSR Nation. As always, we have Josh, Beth, and Tony here from the PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holt Summit, Missouri to talk about food service marketing and business strategies for success. Today, it's our pleasure to have basically our HR team here from PFS Brands. We have Carla Dowden, the Vice President of Human Resources, and Christi Walsh, the Director of Human Resources. Carla, you want to start and tell us a little bit about your background to begin with?
Well, thanks so much for having us. Appreciate being here. My background, I have about 20 plus years of experience in human resources, anything from benefits and payroll to recruiting and compliance issues. Those are my strong points. Here with PFS, I've been here for about 7 years, and the focus has changed a little bit in regards to human resources because we look more at people development. We look at really the culture of the company and focusing on teaching about financials, teaching about ownership thinking. And so it's taken HR to a whole new level, and I totally appreciate being able to experience that with PFS Brands.
Great. What about you, Christi? Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure, Josh. Thank you for having me. I've been in the human resources field just over 20 years, including a good amount of time working for 2 global food companies. I also have some experience working in the retail environment as well as a grocery store. Most of my career has been spent working in employee development, with training and organization development specifically. So I have a passion about helping employees reach their potential, and we want to extend that onto our customers as well.
Well, you know, we talk a lot about just having passion within our company, and a lot of times with HR, whenever they're trying to relay a different culture onto each of our employees, it's hard trying to figure out how can we do that. And within a business franchise, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, we have our culture here, but how do we help communicate that to our retailers so that way they can have the same type of culture in each one of their businesses? So you guys have been working on a tremendous, fantastic project called the People's Playbook that people can use for our retailers to try and help them get that culture and that mindset of how they can operate a very successful company, just human resource management wise. So can you just tell us a little bit about that book and why it might be beneficial for a lot of our Champs Chicken retailers that are out there?
Sure, I'll start. We really implemented the playbook because we went to our retailers and asked them, you know, what their biggest hurdle was when operating a food service program. And the biggest response that we got was people. People were an issue for them. And so when we started evaluating and looking at what they meant by that, we did some surveys and found out that it was hard to keep people. And so when we looked at the ways that they were recruiting and hiring and onboarding their people and training their people, we found that is something they didn't have a lot of structure and balance with. And so we put this playbook together so that we could give them a resource and give them tools so that they could help with their recruitment, help with their onboarding, and help with the whole life cycle of the employee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk a lot about, getting the right people on the bus and then making sure that they're all in the right seats. And I mean, we know that our retailers, they do a great job out there, but most businesses in general, if they don't have the right people in the right places, they're going to struggle with that. So it sounds like this is a great resource for Champs Chicken franchisees to really take advantage of and have an opportunity to maybe streamline the recruitment process as well as work with the people development so they can have better retention.
Absolutely, Anthony. And we built the People's Playbook to be a resource to our exclusively to our Champs Chicken franchises, and it does include many tools and templates and processes that they can use to attract high quality candidates, broaden their reach through some branded recruiting. There are there's information in there about development and, of course, retention strategies, so that once we've attracted the right people, we've gotten them on board in the right seats, we want to do everything we can to develop and train them and retain them for the long term to help increase profitability at our retailer locations.
And this really is kind of a 101 kind of book, because there might be a lot of companies out there right now that are talking about, we don't actually have an HR department. We just have someone that goes in there, hires people, and they kind of hope for the best. So this is a great handbook to be able to say, okay, I need to go to this section of the book, and they're going to kind of teach me, okay, this is what the questions I should be asking. These are the questions I should not be asking, just so that way you understand kind of the legalities of each state. And it's just a great resource for them. So that way they do kind of have that handbook, and they can feel more guidance from the Champs Chicken franchises.
We've found that a lot of our retailers, they don't have someone devoted to HR specifically, and there are a lot of administrative tasks that go along with HR, and they don't have the time or resources to devote to that. So this handbook allows them the resources that they can go directly to a template, and they can have interview questions for job specific. They can also have a reference guide when they call references, that they can have questions that they can ask as well. And then also we take it all the way to the separation, so that they find out why people are leaving their company as well, and ask questions specifically to why they're leaving their company. So I think the handbook is definitely just an avenue for them to be able to have a resource to get some of that information in a template format that they don't have to create themselves.
So it sounds like that would be, a gigantic advantage. I know when I ran stores, one of the challenges I always got into, if we had to, have a separation with whether it was a employee or maybe multiple employees, then you get a little desperate, because all of a sudden you still got the stores open, you still got to cover those shifts, and you're tempted to do the old fog and mirror hiring. Oh, great, you're available and you're standing in front of me. You have a job, and then you realize you've made a terrible mistake, which can really, really affect not just profitability, but it can actually eventually drive customers away. So by helping them, get the right folks and help them develop those people. Like you talked about the increased profitability. If turnover costs money, so if we can help them minimize that, that's an amazing advantage to help that bottom line.
Absolutely. And along those lines, and trying to hire the right people and not just anyone standing in front of you, we've created a custom tool for our Champs Chicken locations. We call it the Career History Application, and it's above and beyond just the normal employment application. It really helps our retailers focus in on the people who really are going to be the best fit to be successful in their business.
And one question that I've heard through just a couple of our retailers that I've got great relationships with. I know Beth has some of those types of relationships out there as well. That you got those folks, they call you up just to say, hey, how you doing this week and stuff. I guess as a question that they might have is, is it really feasible so that I can actually find these quality people? It's a great resource and everything, but do you really believe that I can find quality people to help me run my store?
Absolutely. We have found that this career history form really can help with that. It asks specific questions in regards to what work ethic means to them. What does a work-life balance mean to them? And so we're defining some of those things right up front. Work-life balance is different for everyone, and expectations are different for everyone. So some of those questions that we ask on the career history form, we get to know that individual not just from an application or a resume, but we get to know more of what they need in a job as well as what we need in a job. And so that helps us to narrow it down very quickly. And Anthony, you mentioned, the fact that when you need someone, you need them very quickly. And that's why we always think that it's important that you're always recruiting. And we call it to have bench players on the bench ready to go for when there is a need for that individual right away, so that you're not hiring the wrong person because you just need that warm body in there to fill that position. you're always recruiting and you're always looking for that individual. So if you're at a church function or you're at a school function or you're actually going through a drive-through and you receive great customer service, we have tools in our playbook that provide for our retailers avenues that they can go down to hand out cards to those individuals and try and recruit them, because we feel like every day you're running into people in your everyday life that could be interested in coming to work for your company, but they don't even know that there might be potential to work for your company. So to be able to always be recruiting and looking for those A players, as we call them, that fit your company, fit your culture, that's something that every employer, retailer should be doing at all times.
That's great advice.
For sure. And I guess for any of our current retailers, if they're interested in getting their hands on the playbook and everything, they can reach out to you at askchampshr@pfsbrands.com?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And for anybody out there that's a prospective retailer or anybody who has any questions whatsoever about any of this, they can always reach out to us at mdf@pfsbrands.com. This sounds like an amazing resource. I know you'll have years and years of experience in HR. So what have you seen over the years? I know, Carla, you said you've been here for 7 years. That's kind of really changed in human resources. I mean, can you give a little bit about that?
Well, I think human resources over the years was a policy making and an enforcer. And now in human resources, it's more about people development. It's more about finding each other's why. What is your purpose? What are individuals looking for in working for a company? It's not just a job. It's a career, and so that's the spin that we want HR to have. Is we're all about developing our people and making our people successful, which ultimately makes our retailers successful as well.
I would echo that, and I feel that, more and more we're a true business partner. In our company, human resources has a seat at the table, and I know not all companies have that, but we're very fortunate here and feel that we have some very strong programs and processes in place to help all of our people succeed.
Well, and one thing that I think has been impressive, in my time here, is to see the growth in just the personnel that we continue to invest in human resources here. From people specializing in benefits and to assistants to make sure the workload stays balanced, to the overall just culture. That in itself is a huge reason why I'm here today. It's just the culture was so attractive, and to have those opportunities to see within our own business that we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. We're doing these things, we're implementing them, we're finding success, we're growing, we're finding success, we're growing, we're finding, we keep building on that. And then to be able to take this, and I know this took a lot of time and resources to develop, this for the Champs Chicken chain. And I just think this is a magnificent piece that a lot of retailers are going to benefit strongly from for years to come.
I think the initial reaction to those who've seen it has been extremely positive. And what I like to share with them is that, this is a new program that we do feel can help elevate, their business and future performance. But this is just the start. We will continue to develop additional tools and processes to help them based on their business need, based on their request, based on all of the questions that we get through our Ask Champs HR email box or direct phone calls. And so, our goal is to help make them successful at work, and anything that we can do, then we're going to take those steps.
Great. Carla and Christi, thanks so much for stopping by today. Do you have anything else you want to add about HR?
You good?
Good.
I think
All
we're
right,
good.
that's good.
Awesome. I just really appreciate the fact, Carla's one of my mentors, and the very first question that you ever asked me is, what is your why? And I think you should ask every single employee of that whenever you are in one of your businesses, just because it really does make an impact, that statement alone, and understanding what you want to do with your life and what you want to do with your career. So always find your why.
That was very nice.
Thank you.
And if you, once again, if you have any questions, it's askchampshr@pfsbrands.com. And for Josh, Beth, Tony, Carla, and Christi, we'll talk to y'all next week.
Stop by next week for another QSR Nation episode or visit pfsbrands.com.